Hello everybody, my name is Abe and this is my first ever video and I'm very hyped to do this. In this video I'm going to tell you something about my OU and UU picks for the SBL, the Story Metal League. Before that I want to first tell something short about myself and about this channel. So I'm 14 years old and Dutch, so my English isn't amazing and you will probably hear me struggling sometimes. For this channel I think it's going to be 100% Pokemon content. I'll do league matches and preparations for league matches, some showdown lives, maybe some other stuff, but I don't know yet. So let's start with my Pokemon. So in this league you get 3 picks for every tier, 3 OU, 3 UU, 3 RU and 3 NU and below. But you can pick lower tier Pokemon in another tier. So in OU we can pick UU picks Pokemon. So I drafted Jirachi first, but I could have drafted Tentacle. You can see here who I drafted as my 4th Pokemon. I could have drafted that first 2 since we were allowed to pick UU mons in OU. But let's start off with Jirachi. I was 15 in a 16-person draft. And before I knew what position I was, I knew I really wanted to draft Jirachi. I had never drafted this thing before, but I knew this thing was amazing. It can do so many things, but I was scared I wouldn't get it since I was 15, but I did get it. And I just want to show off how great this thing is. First of all, probably everybody knows the Choice Scarf, Iron Hat, Flinch Hat with Serene Grace and 60% chance to flinch. But that's not the only thing this thing can do. This thing can do so much. It has such a wide moveset. It has moves like Drain Punch, all the elemental punches, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. It has U-Turn, very great move. I feel like every team needs a U-Turn or any Volt Switcher. To get that core, it gets Zen Headbutt as stab. It gets Heart Stamp for flinches if you want to go with that as Psychic Stab. It does get Aerial Ace for flying type, Play Rough. Also Meteor Mash for a 40% chance to raise your attack. It gets Body Slam, what's not too amazing, but it's very good in Jirachi, since it has a 60% chance to paralyze someone. It also just gets T-Wave, one of the best moves of the game. It also gets an amazing special moveset with Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Psychic Psyshock, Moonblast. You can of course run the hidden powers, Grass Knot, Energy Ball, Draco Meteor, Dazzling Gleam, Ancient Power, and even more. This thing doesn't have to be offensive. Like I said, it gets T-Wave, and what's great, it can run something with tricking Pokemon choice items. It can be bulky with Wish and Stealth Rocks. It can be a Calm Mind setup Pokemon. It can do so much. It gets Healing Wish, very useful. I think it gets some fun things here too. Yeah, it gets Cosmic Power if you want to go really bulky, since all its stats are base 100, so it can do pretty much everything. Jirachi is such a Pokemon. You've got 5 mons and you need something on your team. Oh, Jirachi can do that. What is very great, it gets some fun moves like Skill Swap. Not something you normally run, but since this is a league format, you can do those kind of things. Okay, I think we got everything of Jirachi now then. Then we'll go to Togekiss. Yes, another Serene Grace mon. I think this is a pretty known core. Jirachi plus Togekiss. A lot of people, I have seen a lot of people draft this core before. Not only because it's Serene Grace, but also because it works very well together. Of course, you have Fairy and Steel are types that work pretty well together. Fairy is weak to Poison. Poison does nothing to Steel. Steel's immune to Poison. Then Steel's weak to Fire, Ground, and I feel like I'm forgetting some. Oh, Fighting. Fairy resists Fighting. works all together. It doesn't really resist fire and ground, but since Togekiss is a flying type too, it's immune to ground. Jirachi is ghost type, or psychic type, I'm sorry. He is weak to knockoff. Togekiss resists knockoff. Great, so dark type. But not only do they work well together, Togekiss also is just a very good Pokemon on its own. Again, this thing gets a very good moveset with Air Slash for 60%, flinches, Ancient Power, Aura Sphere, Dazzling Gleam, Extra Sensory. I'm only talking special now since this thing's physical attack stat isn't that good. 50 is pretty bad. It gets Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Grass Knot, of course, this thing can run the Hidden Powers too. It gets Hyper Voice, don't think I'll ever run that. Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Tri Attack, also don't think I'll ever run that. But still. And I remember someone, a other YouTuber, Envy, he ran a physical set in this thing. One time he got this in a league. Of course, you probably won't run that, since this is league format, everything can happen. Really everything. And this thing also gets a lot of support moves. It gets dual screens, it gets magic code, it can set up with nasty plot, it gets 3 possibilities of recovery, morning sun, roost, and soft boil. I think soft boil is something like a transfer move that you can't run on most of the movesets, so it's gonna be, so I'll mostly will be running roost, since someone can set up the rain and morning sun. We'll do less or sand. So this thing got dual screens, recovery. Yeah, it gets wish, also for the wish passing, just another type of recovery. Trick again, another T-Wave mod. T-Wave is amazing. Tailwind if you want to do something with speed. I think it gets Baton Pass. If I want to, it can't set up that much, but it can Baton Pass if I really want to. Counter if I want to go tricky. Let's look. Not too much special things here, but it does get some moves. Like, it gets like water pools and shockwave and all those kind of things. It's just a little bit better than Hidden Power, because they sometimes have a secondary effect or something. But here's nothing too special. But with our next mod, Mega Charizard X. This thing gets Dragon plus Fire Stab and hits really hard. 130 base attack, 130 base special attack. What's very good. But it also gets a lot of coverage, like Break, Crunch, Acrobatics, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, Thunder Punch. It can set up with Sword Stance, Dragon Dance, and even Belly Drum if you really want to. I absolutely love Belly Drum, one of my favorite moves. Oh, it also gets EQ. A very good move too. Hits a lot of things. Mega Charizard can hit with its stabs. Then, when I use Mega Charizard X, I can also use normal Charizard if I really want to. I can use, if I really need an item, and I don't care about the Mega Evolution, I don't think it will happen. But again, in League format, everything can happen. And this thing normally gets run physical, and I think I will pretty much always run it physical. But special attack is just as good as its physical attack. And it does get some special attacks, like Air Slash, Ancient Power, Dragon Pulse, Fire Blast, Focus Blast, Overheat. No, that's not nothing. So this Pokemon is really strong and hits like a truck. But again, it does get some support and setup moves like Dragon Dance, SD, Belly Drum. It can click defog even though it's weak to rocks, and even 4 times weak if you switch it in when it's still a normal Charizard. So that's not the best thing you can run on it, but you can. It gets Roar, very useful to have that on your team. Mega Charge with X gets Quick Attack, and even though it's not stab, Quick Attack is still a priority, and I might ever run that if I do some cogs and something just closely doesn't do enough damage to something that's faster. It gets Recovery and Roost, it gets Tailwind, so again, speed stuff. It gets Will-O-Wisp. This thing is also a pretty decent bulky Pokemon with 111 defense, 85 speed def, and 78 HP. That really isn't bad. And especially physical hits, it can take physical hits pretty well with the Will-O-Wisp too. Let's look if it gets, I don't think it gets anything here. Yeah, it gets Counter again if you want to go cheeky. It gets Bulldoze if you want to do something with the speed, but nothing too special. So I also was happy with getting Megazord X, because I directly had my Fairy Dragon Steel Core complete, and Megazord X also starts my Fire, Water, Grass Core, and I love getting my cores early. In draws, I always try to have high tiers cores and have them as early as possible, so I don't have the problem that I have to get a Fire, Grass, or Water type in a lower tier, or not have a Fairy or Dragon type, because there are no good ones anymore in the lower tiers, and then or have a one Water type that I only bring to 2 matches. Then your core just isn't useful, and I want to have useful cores. So right now my team I felt like it was pretty weak to rocks, especially the Charizard, and I just also want hazard removal very early. So I had the second UU pick, and they got Tentacruel. Like, we just kept going with the snake format, so I got Tentacruel as the second overall UU pick. And it might have been a bit too early to grab Tentacruel, but I wanted this thing. I really wanted it. It has some nice special bulk. It doesn't hit too hard. The most important thing, it can rapid spin, and it's not weak to rocks. It also gets a pretty nice move pool, like you can see here: Poison type, Acid Spray, Legendary Dazzling Gleam, Giga Drain, Hex. It sets up T-Spikes, very useful too. This is a great support Pokemon, because it gets Knockoff 2, it gets Scald, can burn things with that, it gets Magic Code, all kind of stuff. So a very great support Pokemon with a nice move pool, so it can hit some things too. And again, the most important thing on this thing is Rapid Spin. Its abilities aren't all that amazing. Clear Body is okay, but this thing doesn't really care about Intimidate or something. But, you know, if someone uses Sticky Webs, can be useful. Liquid Ooze is Giga Drain, so it's decent. And like you're seeing here, I have Pokemon that can use Leech Seed, so that's awesome too. Their Rain Dish, I'm not running a Rain team, but if I'll ever face an opponent with a Rain team, also it gets Haste for to be setup mons, was great. And this thing can run a lot of items. Can run just an AV, Black Sludge, maybe an offensive item like Spec Scarf or Life Orb if you want to go offensive. If you want to go with a really defensive set, maybe a Rocky Helmet but since its physical defense set isn't that good, I don't think I will do that. Okay, my second UU pick, I had to wait, how many? 28 picks, I think, before it was my turn again. And I really wanted my next 2 months, and I was scared that at least this one would get sniped. And I knew the person after me had Breloom, so I knew my next Pokemon wasn't going to get sniped. So even though I thought that one was more important for my team, I wanted this one early. And Mamoswine, I got Mamoswine since my team was pretty weak to electric. Togekiss and Tentacruel are weak to electric. And even the Mega Charizard X resisted, a normal Charizard can't switch into a T-Ball. And it has to be non-Mega when you start off the game. This Pokemon is also good since it is Thick Fat, but removes 2 of its weaknesses even though it's not that bulky, with 80 defense and 60 speed F, even though 110 HP is pretty decent. But it's not that bulky. But it can take a Ice and Fire type hit, what it otherwise would be weak to was awesome. And this thing just is an insane wall breaker. Hits like a truck with ground and ice stab. There aren't many things that resist those. Like the only things that can resist it are, I think, Rotom Heat, Bronzong, and Rotom Wash. That's not much. And also this thing, it doesn't get too much coverage, but it does get decent coverage in all 3 of knockoff, Stone Edge, Superpower, all 4 of knockoff, Stone Edge, Superpower, and Iron Head, and then also Rock Slide, but that kind of counts as Stone Edge because it just hits less hard. Then we have another Stealth Rock Mon, not the best Stealth Rock setter in my opinion, but it can set Stealth Rocks. What's awesome is it gets priority. I had no priority except for Quick Attack on Megazord X, what is very uncommon. So I wanted some priority, so I was very happy with this thing since it had Ice Shard. It gets Roar again. Don't think I will ever run this thing bulky with Roar and dual screens again, but it does get him, and this is League format again. This thing gets Freeze Strike. Freeze Strike is pretty decent for if you face water types that you want to hit. And even though I think to most of them just a physical offensive, if I run a Life Orb with max attack, max speed, Adamant Nature, and then 4-inch speed attack, I think to most water types knockoff will definitely still do more than Freeze Dry, but it's an option. Let's look. You can set up with something like Amnesia, but I don't think I will ever do that. It doesn't get any setup moves here, right? No, it doesn't get SD. Like that. Then it lacks setup. I mean, you could run Curse, but since it's not that bulky, that's going to be hard. Oh, Endeavor. I've seen people run Endure and a Endure Endeavor, or even a Endure Flail set on this thing. Probably, I don't think if I will run it, but it's possible. It's a possibility. It gets Icy Wind for some speed control, just like it gets Bulldoze. Even Rock Tomb, a lot of speed control. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go to our last mon here, what's Chestnut. So I didn't really want another electric resist, but it was great that this thing resists electric too. I mostly wanted a Pokemon in OU and UU that I was familiar with using in Lake format, that was Chestnut, and I wanted something that resisted Edgequake, so Earthquake and Stone Edge. Because my team, to a great Edgequake user, like Jirachi gets super effective hit by Stone Edge, by EQ, Togekiss by Stone Edge, Charizard by both, Tentacle by EQ, Mammal Swarm by Stone Edge. 'Cause I always forget if ground resists rock, but I don't think it does. This thing is bulletproof, very good ability, what makes it resist all bomb and ball and blast moves, so all bullet moves pretty much. And the best one for Chestnut to resist is Sludge Bomb, since a lot of poison type moves, what it's weak to, poison type Pokemon run Sludge Bomb, and a lot of them don't have Sludge Wave, so sometimes they just can't really touch Chestnut unless they run something like Phantom Shock or HP Poison. What's awesome, because that makes Chestnut be able to put in a lot more work, and also because this ability, if I predict a Shadow Ball or a Focus Blast, if I predict a Shadow Ball or a Focus Blast, I can get a free switch in or something. What's awesome too. So this thing is mostly physical offensive. 70 for special attack isn't horrible, but it mostly is physical offensive or physical defensive. Its typing isn't amazing to run on physical defense because it's 4 times weak to flying, and it's weak to ice, weak to poison, weak to fire, weak to psychic. It does have a lot of weaknesses, but it's not that bad. It also gets a very good physical offensive moveset with a lot of great stab moves like Break, Drain Punch, Hammer Arm. It gets Super Power, Low Kick, Seed Bomb, Mood Hammer, just already as its stab moves. And it gets Iron Head, Poison Jab, EQ, Dragon Claw, Shadow Claw, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch, Zen Headbutt. But like I said, and Stone Edge, it doesn't have to be offensive. It can be a spike setter. I already had rocks and T-spikes. I also wanted spikes to complete like the hazards if you don't look at sticky webs, because those are very hard to get. But it can also be bulky. It gets Spiky Shield, great type of protect. It gets recovery with Synthesis. It gets Stun. It's a great stall breaker. Pain Split if you want to recover but also steal health. It gets Lead Sheet. Drain Punch works well for a stall breaker. It can set up with both Bulk Up, Hone Claws, and Swords Dance. It gets Roar. It doesn't get dual screens, it doesn't get light screen, but I have so many screen setters on my team. It gets more things like Aerial Ace. This thing gets Belly Drum too. Like I said earlier, I absolutely love Belly Drum. This thing can set up with Curse, not common but it can. Has some speed control with Bulldoze again. It gets Stab Focus Punch. Does it get some more things here? It gets Payback, what can be 100 base dark type move, and since this thing isn't that fast, I think Payback is kind of an underrated move. Pin Missile for the bug type. For a bug type move, don't think I will ever run that. Worry Seed if you want to do shenanigans with abilities, but I don't think Worry Seed is good. So, Chestnut is a pretty decent Pokemon. Great stats, can run a lot of items. Can run choice items, AV, leftovers, Live Orb. I ran Lum on it. A defensive set with Rocky Helmet. It can run all kinds of berries. Just something to be in item 2. I don't exactly know what they are called, but in item 2 base, like fighting type and grass type moves maybe. This thing can do a lot. Also, I haven't talked about the items on Mammoth Swine. Most common are, and the things I'm gonna run the most, are probably Choice Band, Scarf, and Live Orb. Since I'll probably will run this thing as an all-out attacker most of the time, and then maybe with rocks. So these were my first 6 months. If you like, make sure to leave a like, or maybe even subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. The RU and NU pics will come soon after this, and I hope to see you guys later in another video.